Hello, hey, what's going on, everybody? I think we got a little interference coming through. Do y'all hear that? What in the world is that? What was that?
I don't know. You getting some feedback?
Okay. Yeah, did y'all all hear that? I think that was the background, somebody's background. Mookie, what's going on?
What's up?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
That. Yeah, I can hear it. Y'all hear that?
I can hear you.
No, do y'all hear that background noise though?
No.
I don't.
Okay. No, I don't hear it now. Okay. All right.
I probably had the car on. I'm in my car. See, I probably heard the car
Oh
running.
shoot. Oh shoot. Angela, can you start this over? I don't think we want to start the show like that.
Yeah. It's a Rise Up Family exclusive. Number one sports community organization in the world. Second to none. I know what it is. I had to do that.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? You know what it is. It is the land of the unlimited. All right, this is Rise Up Unlimited Radio Show. I am your host, Andre the Torch Robinson, the fire starter. Torch is in the building with my guys, the sports angle guy from Las Vegas who has a show coming up later on today. You make sure you watch this. All right, make sure you watch the sports angle. Las Vegas, Rocco Kelly, what's good?
Nothing much, man. Just living life, can talk sports. It's all good.
Absolutely. I got my guy. He's from Texas. You wouldn't know it. He's Mr. Consistent. Always here, always supportive. My guy, Dalton D-Man Smith. What's good?
What's everyone? How's everybody doing today?
Wonderful. They should be wonderful. It's a beautiful day. It's mostly sunny out here in the 716. And speaking of the 716, you can't speak 716 without mentioning this guy. This guy is one of the best sports reporters, journalists, writers I've ever seen in my life. He just was on the screen, but nevertheless, I'm going to introduce him anyway. My guy, the coach Mookie Hawkins from WFO Sports. Power 96.5 is in the building too. So shout out to him. And let's get this thing going. If you're on Facebook, let's like and share this joint. Let's get the joint shared up. Let's like it, the whole 9 yards. If you have not subscribed to WDAP Radio TV, make sure you click. Make sure you subscribe right now. All right? Right now as we talk sports. So I want to start this thing off by first and foremost saying that around this time there's a bunch of sports holidays. There's the NFL draft, there's the NFL draft, there's the playoffs, which I call a holiday because they bring a lot of excitement and joy. That's what holidays are supposed to do. But there's another one, and it's a sneaky one. And we had it yesterday, where the NFL comes out with a schedule. All right, the NFL comes out with their NFL schedule, and this year it's a significant NFL schedule because guess what? There's 18 weeks in this year's NFL schedule, which means there's an extra game for a team to make the playoffs or an extra game for a team to lose the playoffs. My guy Mookie Hawkins is now in the building too. I want to talk about the Bills. If we can put up the Bills schedule, let's start off with the Bills schedule first. our schedule coming up. There's a lot of things going on with this Bills schedule, by the way. A lot of things going on with the Bills schedule. Week 1, right off the jump. They are playing the team that they beat last year in Buffalo. They are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in Buffalo again to start off the week. Now, all you Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I hate to say this, but I know you got some picks and it's looking real optimistic for you guys. But week 1, I'm already predicting a loss, and in major fashion. I think this loss is going to be at least a 10-point loss. I know you guys got some starters coming back, but you guys have also lost some defensive presence. The O-line, they're trying to reconstruct that O-line. They got Najee Harris out of the draft, but I don't think that's going to be enough for a team that has reconstructed somewhat their defensive line. They're making sure that they definitely address the pass rush, which they have in this draft with getting Gregory Rousseau and Basham, Mr. Boogie from Wake Forest. I want to know what you guys think about this week 1 matchup with the Bills and the Steelers. And I'll start off with the sports angle.
Oh, I want to start with me. Okay, great. When it comes to Buffalo, when it comes to Pittsburgh, I analyze this matchup by saying Buffalo has a lot of expectations. I mean, they're 12-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. They're among the odds-on favorite to win the AFC Championship. There is a lot of hype going on in Buffalo, and it's great. I definitely think that for the first time in a long time, Buffalo has a spotlight put on them. It's fantastic. The whole Pittsburgh situation, I have panned the Najee Harris pick. I mean, if you draft a running back, you're going to have an O-line to protect him, and the Steelers have among the weakest offensive lines in the NFL. I mean, 4 of your 5 offensive linemen from last year are no longer in your lineup. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't like that move. I still don't like that move. Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger, which is really a catastrophic, unfortunate situation. I mean, this guy is going to end his career on an average Pittsburgh Steelers team. But hey, it's his retirement tour. Ben Roethlisberger is going to go out. He's going to go to different cities, going to go to different places, and that's just the way it's going to be. So my angle would be week 1. It's going to be fun to see what Buffalo does in terms of momentum, and I want to see what they do in terms of motivation with last year, because last year they got very close. I mean, they got very close to getting to where they wanted to go, but they didn't, unfortunately, and now they're going to have to go and try to get back to that place in 2021. Let's see what they do.
All right, let me ask the coach, Mookie Hawkins, who has already interviewed some of the rookies. What do you see the Bills doing week 1, and what are the expectations, as Rocco has already stated somewhat? What's the expectations?
You're going in and out. You gotta repeat that. You're going in and out, Joe.
Okay.
Hey, Andre, I'll do it. Mookie, pretty much he was asking like about the expectations for Buffalo, like with week 1 going up against Pittsburgh. What is the realistic expectations for this team? Because you've interviewed some of the rookies from the Buffalo Bills.
Let's see. Can y'all hear me clear?
We got you. Got you loud and clear.
Y'all can hear me clear?
We got you.
Okay. I mean, I have to really digest this schedule. You know what I mean? First and foremost, I mean, okay. We know that we're going to get primetime games, and the NFL loves Bills Mafia, obviously, for the second Thanksgiving game in 3 years. Speaking volumes, they understand how much of a business this is. And what would it be like the night before Thanksgiving on Bourbon Street with Bills Mafia? You guys to be kidding me. It's going to be beads and broken tables everywhere on Bourbon Street the night before Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? And With that being said, we all know the night before Thanksgiving, that's when the bars, for some strange reason, are just full, are packed. And I tell you what, this is going to be a historic event. Bills on Thanksgiving. And, so the Bills have a solid schedule. When you look at the schedule, it's hard to believe that they have the 9th easiest schedule in the NFL. Just by looking at the teams, I don't think no team really is a pushover. I mean, everybody is quick to say, oh, well, it's going to be an easy game versus the Steelers. First of all, the Steelers are a well-coached team. Right? They're a well-coached team. And I understand, they need line help and stuff like that. And they should have got a lineman. But running backs like Najee Harris are a dime a dozen. You do not pass up on a back of that magnitude, that ability at that size. I'm sorry. I would have had to go get linemen down the road. But hindsight, with that being said, if you can't stop the run anyway, it don't even matter who's blocking for the guys, right? So, I mean, you got to bring it. Week 1 is a given just because of. Look at it like this: the Pittsburgh Steelers won 11 damn games in a row before Bud Dupree got hurt. That's where the team really misfailed. And then after that, it just exposed everything else. That's how valuable Bud Dupree was for that team. All right, they was 11-0 before he got hurt, and then after that, the bottom just fell out completely. So, you can't look past anyone. Pittsburgh is that team, a tough opponent. And, hey, head-to-head, historically, the Steelers has a crazy gap in margin of victories versus the Bills. So you can't look past week 1. And right now, Steelers are that team. So do the Bills have a better team? Oh, yes, they do. But you still have to prepare. You still have to get your team ready to roll. And we're still dealing with a pandemic, but we're getting a little bit better off of that. But all in all, I like how the schedule is. The first 5 games, is going to say a lot. You got division opponents. You got upper echelon teams in your conference. All in the first 5 games, and then you could break things down quarterly. With it being extra games involved. So I like the schedule. I think it definitely keeps the team motivated on a week-to-week basis to, never get caught, just playing down to the level of their competition. You know what I mean? So, and by the look of these new rookies, it's a lot of competition that's being placed out there this season. So I'm quite sure everybody's going to be on their A game come training camp. Hello?
Bud Dupree is not a Pittsburgh Steeler anymore, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, he's with Tennessee.
Right, which is what I thought. Okay, so just to add on to week 1 in the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, I think the Bills have the better team overall. Dalton, what do you think about this matchup, week 1?
Well, to be honest, the thing with the Bills, I know they got 2 pass rushers in the draft. I know they added receiver. They got Matt Breida. I know he's adding with Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. The thing with the Steelers, I know they got Najee Harris. I mean, they addressed all line. I mean, the Steelers, they could be in trouble because they lost Bud Dupree because he went to the Titans. Devin Bush, he's coming off the injury. They still got T.J. Watt. But I still think the Bills going to beat the Steelers in week 1.
Yeah, I do too. If I had an early prediction before we get into like all the training camp stuff, my prediction is 31-21 Bills. Bills will prevail. I think that the secondary is going to be an issue as far as the Steelers is concerned. Minkah Fitzpatrick is obviously the highlight of that secondary, but I just don't think they have enough to stop guys like Emmanuel Sanders, who just newly was acquired by the Bills, and then you got Gabe Davis, you got Stephon Diggs, still Cole Beasley. And then you got Jacob Hester from or Hollister from Seattle, who can definitely catch the ball. You see what he did with Russell Wilson. Really good guy who has a nice arm, great accuracy. Josh Allen is coming into his own, obviously, with that accuracy thing, being accurate, very accurate, being mobile. Josh Allen's one of the best mobile quarterbacks too, which helps you when you dealing with a team like Pittsburgh, who likes to rely on pass rush a lot, things of that nature. So I definitely could see Buffalo coming out with like a 10-point win, 21 maybe. Early prediction, real early. By the way, if you have not watched it, you should watch it. Coming up this Sunday, the Rise Up Early Buffalo Bills edition show will be commencing at 9:00. We will have some Pittsburgh Steelers fans on there, fanatics on there as well, to talk about Week 1 Bills Steelers. All right. I know a lot of y'all just digesting the schedule, but I see prime time games coming up this year. How do you guys feel about the Bills in prime time? How you guys feel about that?
Let's start with Dalton.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm excited for that. Glad the Bills have primetime games this year, especially against my team, the Saints, on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Right.
Speak about that a little bit, Dalton. Speak about that matchup a little bit. How you feel about that matchup?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to that matchup. I'm excited, especially on Thanksgiving Day.
Well, we owe the Saints.
Awesome.
Too bad Drew Brees won't be here to witness it.
Well, he won't
He might
play,
be.
though, but he'll be a commentator that time because he's
Yeah,
working on
he
MVP,
might be.
though.
Okay.
Yeah, so he'll be commentating that. So he'll get a piece of that one. He'll get a piece of Bills Mafia when we take over Bourbon. A little bourbon turkey on Thanksgiving. Be pretty nice. But yeah, I mean, hey, when you make it all the way to the AFC Championship game, you gotta get the national spotlight. And the Bills have earned that. Now they got 4 primetime games, potential 5. They got a flex game with the Carolina Panthers. So that's going to be made at a later date. So the Bills have an opportunity to play 5 primetime games. Coming similar to what they did last year on the national stage. So it's rightfully so. Respect given. So the guys got to perform. They got to be up to the task. You got New England Monday night at home. All right, so hopefully that could be potentially for the division once again, and I know that stadium is going to be rocking crazy on Monday night. Bills Mafia finally will be fully in attendance, against New England Patriots as it should have been last year, So it's going to be quite the thrill if the Bills need that win to clinch the division. At home versus New England on Monday night is going to be electric.
I mean, I will say when it comes to the Bills' schedule, Week 6 against the Titans, yeah, I can understand the reason why it's on there, but that's not the most interesting to me. The Saints on Thanksgiving, it's nice, but it's not the most interesting to me. I mean, most likely if it being an evening game, all that turkey I ate in the afternoon is going to have me passed out by the time the game starts. And then the New England game, I understand the rivalry. I get the back and forth. I love that for ratings. So, yeah, prime time, I get it. But that's not the game that interests me. The game that interests me the most, and this is going to be a game that odds makers are going to be interested in the most. Week 5, Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City is the odds-on favorite to win the AFC. Buffalo, 12-1, Kansas City, 9-2. So you're going to have 2 of the best teams in the AFC going up head-to-head in a Week 5 matchup. That's going to be a great game. There's going to be a lot of fanfare. There's going to be a lot of people tuning into that game and having their eyeballs and their wallet put on that game as well. So when it comes to Week 5, Kansas City and Buffalo, that will be the game you have to watch out for, and that's the game that most interests me when it comes to the primetime games out there in Buffalo. I mean, Mookie, you agree? I mean, Kansas City week 5, that could be two of the best AFC teams going at it.
Well, you get your AFC championship rematch, and we'll get to see how hungry are the Bills to want to beat them finally. I mean, that still don't get you to the Super Bowl, but just to, get over that hurdle of competing with, the best team in the AFC. So, that's the task at hand week 5. And then, on the flip side of that, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so those are the two most intriguing games. You get to play two of the, basically you playing number 1 and number 2 in the NFL on your schedule. All right. You're playing the defending AFC champion, and you're playing the Super Bowl defending champion at their house. So those are going to be 2 games, and I'm quite sure the Bills have circled on the calendar to see where they really are as a team. You know what I mean? And those teams played each other in the Super Bowl. So if you want to see where your team is, it's good to have those 2 teams on your schedule before the postseason.
To be the best, you got to beat the best. Oh, hello, Sharon. Hi. Hi, Sharon.
Hey, Sharon.
So Andre, let's kick it back to you.
Definitely. Okay, so looking at the schedule, like what everybody said, looking at the schedule is looking very interesting to me. I like a lot of these games. Bills Steelers already a tough test right off the jump, get you warmed up. I mean, there's only 3 preseason games this year. I do like the last preseason game of the year, even though it's not going to mean much. Obviously, those 2 teams are going to be looking to try to repeat what they did last year with the Bills and the Packers. They'll be looking to repeat what they did last year and it gets you kicked off for the season. I mean, the Packers play the Saints first week of the season. Obviously, Dalton, you know all about that. You know that matchup is coming, even though it's with no Drew Brees. But then you got the Bills, obviously. You got the Bills and the Steelers, 2 really good games to start off the season. And then the Bills play the Dolphins. And now you get to see what the Dolphins are in week 2. How much have they progressed? Week 2, what will they come out with? I think it's a really good game because a lot of people talk about the Bills and the Dolphins being the 2 best teams in the AFC East and expecting that this year coming up.
I don't know why they trying to amp Miami up to fight. I don't know why they trying to do that all the time. I don't know why they doing that.
I think honestly, a lot of the amp up is, obviously what they did in the draft, what they did last year, being a team that was 10-6, the draft. People love to make stories.
Let's talk about why they was 10-6.
Oh yeah, I know. Oh, I already
went because of Tua.
Yeah, it wasn't because of Tua.
Fitzpatrick ain't gonna be there. Fitzpatrick ain't gonna be there to say, okay, we're gonna sit you down, but we're gonna put Fitzpatrick in and win the game. He's not around no more, right?
Yeah, that's true. Very true. He's not around.
So I don't understand.
He's not around. But,
I don't understand.
But they got new weapons. I mean,
Yeah, okay. He had the weapons last year too. What was Tua doing?
Right. Listen, right. My thing is stories make fights, and a lot of people are interested. A lot of people are interested to see how much better the AFC East has gotten. By the way, Monday Night Madness coming up. We will examine all 4 of those team schedules coming up. So I want to shout that out right now. That's just a prelude. It's a spoiler alert.
Last year, it was people saying that Tua was better than Josh Allen before the season started. I have crazy receipts on that. We're talking people from ESPN, NFL Network, all of that.
Mookie, they're just trying to get clicks and buys. That's the only reason why they're saying that. And they're just trying to get all those.
That's why I said stories make fights. Stories make the fights. You know that. Everybody
look, all
know that.
Of us here know. All 4 of us and everyone who's watching, including Sharon, we all know the Dolphins are pretenders. We also know that the Patriots are pretenders. Someone in Rise Up is going to try to dispute that, but we all know they're not winning this year. So when it comes to the AFC East, it's going to be the Buffalo Bills. And if Zach Wilson is this phenomenal quarterback like people in New York and New York sports are hyping up.
No, you not about to mention the Jets.
Hey, I'm going to mention the Jets because if you listen to New York media, if you listen to ESPN New York and all that crap, they talk about Zach Wilson like he's this best quarterback to come out of New York since Joe Namath. That's what they're hyping him up to.
Yeah, again, stories make fights. Right.
Right, but
again, stories make fights.
Like they're seeing all the training camp and all that. Yeah.
I've silently heard it. Yes, absolutely. And I'm just, again, I'm bedazzled about how people just totally forget the progression of the Buffalo Bills and how the Bills have progressed. But I'm not gonna come on here and make people think that I'm just about to just big up Buffalo, the Bills, and all that. But Sharon said no. They predicted that Tua would be better than. No, they said that they predicted that Tua would be better than Allen. They were wrong, and Allen proved it. Obviously.
No, they said who are the best quarterbacks in the AFC East right now. Rate them 1 through 4. It was who was first? Was it Sam Darnold 1, Cam Newton 2, 2 or 3, or I know Josh Allen was live. I knew that Josh Allen was live.
Which is ridiculous. I'll be honest with you, which is ridiculous. But that AFC East matchup on the 19th should be an interesting one, just to get the Bills started on going 6-0 again in the division, which I predict that they should do again this year. If the defense is right, I think the offense sets them up for success. Go ahead.
Now, Andre, Mookie brought up actually a good question. I kind of want to bounce off of that. When it comes to the AFC East quarterbacks right now, what would you rank them? 1 to 4. What would you? Are you
serious? This is not even a conversation. Are you serious? Josh Allen is number 1, easy. Cam Newton is probably 2,
3, and 4.
Cam Newton is probably 2 because of what he's done career-wise overall, and you've seen what Tua did last year. But anybody who thinks Tua is over Cam Newton, I kind of want to debate that too. I will debate that to air from here to God knows when, if you like. So I think it's Allen, it's Newton, then it's Tua, then it's Zach Wilson, because Zach Wilson hasn't even played a game in the NFL yet. So he gets to start from the bottom. All right, started from the bottom, and if he end up being here, then he ends up being here. But I'm not one who's gonna sit up here and big up BYU when he hasn't played a game yet. He hasn't played a game. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. Again, the Bills and Dolphins, though, that's a good week 2 matchup. Really good week 2 on the road matchup.
We're talking about the Jets and what Zach Wilson is going to do. First of all, they got to play Sam Darnold week 1. Then they play the Patriots. Then they play the Broncos. Then they play the Titans. So he's going to be facing some heavy pass rushers.
Mm-hmm. He's
his first what he's got. 3-4 games. So we're going to see what the jury is out. Is he supposed to be this Josh Allen type now? He draws those comparisons. I'm glad the Jets took him and, not Justin Fields. So,
Oh, hey, I agree. Mookie, I agree with that 1,000%. I'm happy Justin Fields isn't in New York. Thank you. I'm happy about that.
Well, I sure would have took Justin Fields over Zach Wilson.
Yeah, probably should have, but nevertheless, they took Zach. And moving on to week 3, I mean, week 3 is going to be a scorcher. By the way, week 3, there's something special about week 3. Week 3 is exactly on my birthday, 38th birthday. So I cannot wait to see the Bills play the Washington football team. It'll be good to see another team play these Bills. A team that is heavy on the pass rush, obviously have one of the best front fours. They have, I think, 3 first-round picks, number 1 overalls on this line, on this defensive line. They're a team that's up and coming. They won the division last year while everybody was talking Dallas or talking Philly. Washington's the team that came out. The team with the no last name came out and won the division.
Very underrated.
It's going to be very, very underrated. Very interesting to see what they do. Speaking of Washington, shout out to my guy from UP, Jared Patterson, who actually got picked up by the Washington Redskins. So that's going to be interesting to see Jared Patterson back home too. Shout out to him. Mook, myself, we've had the pleasure of interviewing him on his pro day, things of that nature. Been a lot of fun. I got to watch him. Phenomenal talent. UB scoring 8 touchdowns in one football game. I mean, the guy is destined to be sooner or later a starter, hopefully, in the NFL. And that'll be an interesting test for the Buffalo Bills, a good defense, a solid defensive team to play on my birthday. So I can't wait to see that. Man, and speaking of these primetime games, I mean, there's a lot of primetime games going on, but there's other games that I like. Like, I like the Colts game. That's a character builder game. You know what I mean? The Colts game at home against, Carson Wentz, the guy that last time came here, they beat the Bills. With a team that has an offensive line, great offensive line, some weapons, had one of the best defenses in the league. Coming to one Bills drive, coming to the Ralph. We're not calling it Blue Cross Blue Shield. We're not calling it
Highmark Stadium. Oh,
no, we're not calling it Highmark. We don't want to call it Highmark. But how do you feel? Right. How do you feel about? I mean, the Bills already been setting high marks, so we used to that. We used to that here in the 716 now with the Bills setting high marks. So how do you feel about those type of games, Mook? Like the Bills and Colts, the Bills and Buccaneers games coming up?
If you look at the Bills, to me, the Bills' toughest 4-game stretch is in November when they open up with the Colts, the Saints, the Patriots, and the Bucks. To me, that's their toughest 4-game stretch. So if they can get up out of that thing unscathed, that's definitely something to consider going into postseason. And then when you get through that, then you have your last 3 out of your 4 games will be at home. Once you weather that storm, if you come out good, if you come out 3-1, 2-2 is not acceptable. 3-1. If you come out of that 4-game stretch 3-1, heading into your remaining 4 games, 3 out of those 4 are at home. So that definitely could work. That type of stretch could work into the Bills' favor, knowing that they finished 3-1, and we're not knowing who's gonna potentially lose to or win, whatever. But let's just say hypothetically, the Bills beat the Colts, the Saints, and the Buccaneers or whatever. They split with the Patriots, but the common teams are the Bucs, Saints, Colts. They're on the schedule too. Now, if New England so happens to lose to one of those teams and the Bills then beat the majority, then they have an advantage when it comes to tiebreaker situations and things like that when it comes to the division. So if they can get out of that 3-1, or they could be 4-0. They only lost they didn't lose that many games last year. So who's to say? That could be the case this year. But hypothetically, they get through this thing unscathed. They're looking damn good. Going into the last 4 games of the season, for that push that they need to clinch whatever.
I mean, talking about the Bills' schedule. I mean, yes, Mookie Hawkins with games that he's looking forward to. I mean, there's a trio of games that I have marked on the calendar with Buffalo, because I've said on my show before, the Sports Angle, them going 13-4 is most likely what's going to happen. Like, I'd be surprised if they lost more than 4 games. But the trio of games I have marked down when it comes to the Bills, I have that Sunday game you were talking about, the Washington football team. I mean, that Washington team, 8 of their 12 starters on defense were drafted by the team. Let's also talk about their front 4, like you mentioned, that are all former first-round picks. That Washington football team, they focus so much on defense to getting to the quarterback. I believe that they could have a huge problem for Josh Allen, depending on how the offensive line holds up against the top 4. So Washington football team, I think that'll be their first real big test at the beginning of the season. I already talked about Kansas City, so I'm going to scratch that off that list. But I will point out that week 14, Tampa Bay, I do agree with Mookie on this. Tampa Bay is the odds-on favorite right now. They are the team to beat. I mean, to beat the best, to be the best, you got to beat the best. You're going to be playing at Raymond James Stadium. You're going to be in Tampa. Tom Brady, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans are going to be on their feet. They're going to be loud and proud. They're going to be happy to be there celebrating the championship and all that. So when it comes to week 14, Tampa Bay is going to be the biggest test they're going to go up against. And then week 16 against New England, look, they're going to be playing at Gillette Stadium. And when it comes to Buffalo, you're going to be playing in New England. I don't care if it's Tom Brady. I don't care if it's Cam Newton. I don't care if it was Tony Eason. When it comes to the New England Patriots and Buffalo Bills, Buffalo and New England, when they're playing at Gillette Stadium, it's always been a fun game to watch. It's always been a hard-fought battle. So I'm going to say week 16 going up in New England, that's going to be the last game you have to watch out for on this Bills schedule. So week 14 at Tampa Bay, week 16 at New England, and then week 3 against the Washington football team.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Just remember the last time they played New England in Gillette, they smoked their boots. They smoked the boots off of New England. Don't think that they're not gonna come prepared again. They already did it once. They already been in that atmosphere before late in the season, looking to clinch. I think this is the same atmosphere right after Christmas. The Bills give up some gifts. They're giving some gifts in the form of an L. All right, form of a bunch of L's, right to the New England Patriots. Probably boot them out of the playoff picture again with this game, December 26th. I look forward to the Bills smacking them up and down the field. Defense getting real with them again. And speaking of that, not to jump off the schedule a little bit, but I kind of want to talk about these picks a little bit, like Gregory Rousseau and Carlos Basham Jr., both pass rushers, first and second round, took it number 30 and 61 from Miami and Wake Forest. What is the expectation, Mookie Hawkins, from these guys? Let me ask you that, because that's something that the Bills made sure that they addressed in the draft, is pass rush.
Well, yeah. The biggest eyesore was getting to the quarterback. And, Brandon Beane stayed true to his board and just took the best available player, especially when the dynamic guys like Najee Harris and NTN were off the board at that time. So you got to go with the best available player at the position need. To get a guy like Greg Rousseau at 30, you look at his production. If he came out the same year Chase Young went out, he could easily been a top 10 pick. He was second in sacks only to Chase Young. So he opts out. So I guess that kind of like hurt his draft stock. But to get that type of production as an edge rusher, and it only really was a redshirt freshman, to get that, he's only 20 years old. He's a baby. So we got basically a future top 10 player at pick 30. You get Boogie Basham. You get a late first round pick, late in the second round pick. So those are two steals. It used to be like you can never have enough corners. Now you can never have enough pass rushers, because you got to keep those guys fresh. We understand that, hey, Jerry Hughes and Addison are top dog right now. They're being paid to be top dog. So they're going to be on a snap count. They're going to preserve those guys and keep them well rested for the money downs this season. And then after that, Jerry might extend for another year, but I don't think they extend Addison. Basically those guys will be developmental starters.
All right. Okay, so I want to move off the Bills a little bit. I know we talked about the Bills for the first half of the show, and I want to thank everybody that's tuned in. Again, you are watching Rise Up Unlimited, the radio show, with myself, Andre the Torch Robinson, the fire starter, with Mookie Hawkins, the coach, Dalton D-Man Smith, the consistent one, and then my guy from Las Vegas, Sports Angles on Rocco Raquelli. Let's talk about the NFL schedule week 1. I want to talk about some of these games that's out in week 1 real quick. I want to talk about the first game, first and foremost. This first game is a big one. I mean, right off the jump, Thursday night, they ready to kick this thing off with fans, and they want to make a bang. Dak Prescott is making his return. All right. Going down to Tampa Bay. What do you guys expect in this game? I'll start off with Dalton. What do you guys expect in this game?
Well, to me, Dak Prescott, well, we all know he's coming off the injury. I mean, he's playing against a tough defense against the Buccaneers, and Tom Brady, he knows Dan Quinn very well. So I really hate to say it, though, but I'm going to say the Buccaneers. It's going to be a slaughterhouse.
Okay, so who's losing? Are the Cowboys taking the L?
Yes, Cowboys are taking the L.
Interesting thought. Let's go to Rocco Raquelli.
Well, as everybody knows, here in Las Vegas, we are the sportsbook capital of the world. So what does the odds tell you about this game? I mean, Tampa Bay opened as a 6-point favorite, and Dallas as a 6-point underdog. I understand that Dak Prescott's coming back, but I do not see Dak Prescott winning this game. I think the Cowboys are going to put up a good fight, but Tampa Bay, they definitely have the weapons back. They got everybody coming back. They're going to be celebrating that win. They're going to have the banner coming down. They're going to have all those rings and everything on that night. So with Tampa Bay being a 6-point favorite against Dallas, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mookie Hawkins.
Well, I guess we're going to see what Jerry's money is made of right off the rip. Dak Prescott coming off, injury and getting this new contract. Here you go, playing up against the defending Super Bowl champion. So week one, Jerry get to see where his team is right away and get to figure out what, things he need to fix right away. And so, if this type of game don't get Dak Prescott and the rest of the Cowboys fired up to play, then I don't know, what to say. They're going to be dealing with, we're going to see what their back end is made of. They did go out and get some solid corners. I like Dallas draft. I'm not a Cowboy fan. I can't stand the Cowboys, but I do like the moves that they made in the draft. They really addressed some areas. They got some dynamic defenders, and they got some big defenders with some size. When you're talking 6'3" that can cover, and that's going to play some big dividends for the Cowboys, especially playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers week one. So we're going to definitely see what those guys made of, and they're going to have to grow up, very, very early. But I do see Tampa Bay, pulling that one out.
Yeah, let's go Dalton. How you feel? How you feel about this?
Well, with the Cowboys and Buccaneers, Dak Prescott, he was coming off the injury. They're playing against a tough Buccaneers defense. And Tom Brady, he knows Dan Quinn very well. He has Dan Quinn's number. I did like the Cowboys draft picks, though. But, I don't see – it's going to be battle of defense, in my opinion. But I think Buccaneers going to take the win.
So I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm going to go against the odds, and I'm going to say the Dallas Cowboys have something to prove, and they want to come out early, and they want to prove it. Dak Prescott coming back, he's gonna wanna play like his best game. I think Dak Prescott, this is one of those type of games to me that the Cowboys win. I know that didn't just happen. What the hell just happened?
Cowboys are winning that game. Yeah, I don't know, but I know the Cowboys ain't winning that game.
I think what happened was they heard you say the Cowboys, so everything just immediately Control-Alt-Delete.
That's probably why.
Right. That could be it.
I'm super excited to get back in the building. A thing that I
got my man Spencer Johnson talking about how he ran through the table.
Mm-hmm. So, Mookie, since I think you would know the answer to this question, are any Bills rookies starting on the depth chart, or are they all backups right now?
They are backups right now. I mean, the Bills didn't need it. They wasn't looking for really a starter. You know, what I mean, everybody comes back that started from the team. You know, I mean, on both sides of the ball, from the offense to the defense. Only thing that's different is we replaced John Brown with Emmanuel Sanders. On the defensive side, it's going to be a new number 2 corner. But other than that, everything else is pretty much intact. Boogie Basham and Greg Rousseau is definitely going to be rotational pieces. Don't get me wrong, one or the two could potentially get an opportunity to start some games. Got an opportunity to start some games. So those will be probably the two that I would figure that has a good chance. And I have a sleeper in Damar Hamlin, the safety out of Pitt. He can easily, sneak himself in there, but the Bills do have Josh Thomas on the roster, practice squad guy from Appalachian State a year ago. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to replace Dean Marlowe. And Dean Marlowe, started a few ball games as well when, Micah Hyde went down there. So you got to replace those guys with quality depth pieces. They still have Jaquan Johnson, but I don't think the Bills are done putting this roster together. It's been rumored to have Steve Nelson, coming from Pittsburgh to join the Bills. So, I don't think that the Bills are done, with plugging these pieces in. And, who's to say that they're still satisfied at running back? Le'Veon Bell is still out there. I know, they were interested in him last year. He's available now. Do you bring that to the table again? If you're really trying to make your roster completely competitive, we'll see.
So you're talking about the running backs here at the Buffalo Bills. Are they going to use a multi-running back scheme? I know you have Singletary, you have Moss, you have Breida. Are they going to do something similar to New England where you have multiple running backs used during the year?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, when you look at it, I seen Dable last year during the scrimmage run 20 personnel, and he didn't run it in a game at all. So I know he has that in his repertoire, but they never used it. So I'm quite sure that that's going to be revisited again this year. You might see some 12 personnel. You might not. But I do know that Brian Dable is well equipped for any type of formation in any type of situation. I mean, he's from New England, all right? So he kind of like know what that's how to run that type of system. He is that system. He comes from New England. So yeah, he can definitely run some of the similar things that you do see Josh McDaniels run in New England. He comes from that.
So as we transition from the Buffalo Bills, let's go over to New Orleans Saints because we do have Dalton Smith here as well. So with the Saints organization, what are your expectations at quarterback? Because you have Ian Book, you have Trevor Siemian as part of your reserve contracts, you have Jameis Winston, you have Taysom Hill. Is it possible that Sean Payton is going to use a multi-quarterback system similar to what they do in college, where one quarterback will start the first half and then a second quarterback will start in the second half? Do you think that's what the Saints will do, or will it be one quarterback, then a backup, then a follow down the line?
It's probably follow down the line. I can see James Winston being starter. They can put Taysom Hill as a role as a gadget. I can Book. We all know he's not going to be a starter. He's going to be a backup. And we all know Trevor Siemian, he'll get cut during preseason cuts, though. But the only way I could see Ian Book be a starter, unless someone gets hurt, all that stuff.
Did you like the Ian Book pick, or were you
Honestly,
against it?
I did. I know it's kind of a reach in the 4th round, though, but I wasn't upset. We knew that was coming. But I did like Ian Book. He's very underrated.
So with Thanksgiving with the Bills and the Saints, I know that it's going to be a real interesting matchup there. But are you going to be similar to me where you're going to be passed out from all that turkey and all that great food in the afternoon? Or are you going to try to stay up and watch that Bills versus Saints game?
I'm going to watch it.
All right. What about you, Mookie? Are you gonna like purposely wait with Thanksgiving, then eat your turkey while the game's going on? Because we all know that turkey makes you sleepy. I mean, it just happens.
Oh, I'm going to be at the game.
Oh, you're gonna be
I'm
at the
going
game.
to the
Okay.
game. I'm going to the game. I'll be reporting live in the Mercedes-Benz Arena. I will be there. So we
So-
got to see what New Orleans, what kind of food they're gonna be offering us. I know I went to Thanksgiving and Jerry laid it out. I went to the Dallas game and Jerry laid it out. They fed us twice. They fed us Thanksgiving dinner, and then they fed us what was regularly on their game day menu. So I'm like, damn, Jerry.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean,
So they took care of us.
talk about being full. I mean, that's two different servings right there. Yeah.
That's definitely two different servers. You're gonna walk it off though, because Jerry's World is huge. I got lost. It took me a whole quarter just to get back to my seat.
Well, I mean, they do seat 105,000 people. So, I mean, that big of a stadium, obviously, you can't get lost there. So, would this be your first time in New Orleans, or have you been there before?
I've been in New Orleans before, but this would be my first time actually, in the stadium, like per se.
You know, that's really cool. That's really cool. I mean, hey, Dalton, I mean, I think I've asked you this before, but have you ever been to Buffalo? I know you're out there in Texas. Like, have you ever been to Buffalo before?
I never have.
Would you want to?
I always want to go to Buffalo, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm not going to try to jump or anything, but I think if you did go to Buffalo, I think Mookie Hawkins, he definitely would show you a good time. He'd show you where you got to go.
Oh yeah, I'll take care of my guy, Dalton. I mean, not a problem.
So as we
Not a
are
problem.
talking about, NFL, talking Bills, talking Saints here on the show, I do wonder that outside of the Bills and Saints, is there any team in the NFL that you have your eye on, that you're keeping, you're keeping, with your peripheral vision? Like, I have to keep my eye on them because I know how good they can be. Like, is there any team like that, Mookie? Where, like, I know the whole Bill situation, but is there any team in the AFC that you're like, if they start clicking, if they start building momentum, could they start winning out there in Buffalo? I mean, Dalton, what about you?
It's possible. And William Richter says Rams and the Browns.
The Browns, I would agree with. The Rams, I don't understand the hype with the Rams because I'm here in Las Vegas, we're the sportsbook capital of the world. I mean, the Rams are 12-1 odds. They're among the highest outside of the Tampa Bay to win the NFC. I really don't understand why. I mean, I get that they have a really solid defense, but that offense does have some questions for me. So, Dalton, when it comes to Los Angeles, I mean, do you understand it for why they're so highly touted right now with the Rams organization?
Well, like you said, they got a good defense. And, Matthew Stafford, he has no excuse now. I mean, he finally got a running game, weapons around him, and O-line. We got to see, can he play all 17 games, though? That's going to be questionable.
And then with him being back, Andre, what about you? I mean, the Rams and the Browns could be two teams you have to watch out for this season. I mean, you got to have your peripheral vision looking at them from a distance.
Yeah, I like the moves both teams made. The Browns getting Jadeveon Clowney on the other side of Myles Garrett. Let's see what Jadeveon Clowney could do as far as redeeming himself from 0 sacks against Tennessee and only 19 tackles in the season. People are looking at him at like a major bust right now. But he still got paid $10 million. I mean, he could have went to the Cleveland Browns a couple seasons ago and got paid even more money. So, I mean, finally going to a place where, they got things to prove. They were about 5 points away from beating Kansas City last year. Injury to Patrick Mahomes or not. Running game is good. Weapons out on the outside. I mean, the Browns are looking pretty good, and they're really, really looking good. And the Rams, I mean, you got a better passer now. You got Matthew Stafford. You got a nice offensive line. I tell you what, Cam Akers is going to be somebody to watch out for. He's coming into his own. He can run the football. pretty well. They got Robert Woods. They still got Cooper Kupp. They got weapons over there for Matthew Stafford to get the ball to, and a defense and Aaron Donald in them that can cause a lot of trouble for a lot of teams. So I look for these two teams to do a lot this year. I look for them to progress and do even better than they did last year. And I will be the first to say, and this is super early, but I think both of those teams win their division.
That is an interesting take.
You heard it from me. I think both of those teams win their division.
That would be
barring they stay healthy.
All right, so Andre, when you were here last, we were talking about the NFL schedule. You were talking about Week 1, Cowboys and Buccaneers. Like, what else were you going to talk about with Week 1?
Well, the Colts got a game that's super interesting that I was looking at too. I think Seattle plays the Colts first week. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Russell versus Wentz. Newly regarded Wentz. I really need to know, and I hope I get in touch with my guy Ivan coming up on Monday Night Madness. I want to know what he really think about this Colts team, the expectation of this Colts team with Carson Wentz and others. Like, this is a new team, and you gotta watch. You gotta watch out for the Giants too. William Richter said, "Watch out for the Giants." Yeah, I think the Giants healthy can be a splash team that does something. So I mean, Week 1 is very interesting. Week 1 is very interesting with all the different moves, with how people drafted. I would say a lot of these teams drafted well this year. Drafted well and drafted at positional need, and some of them took best available, but they're making it very interesting. Very, very interesting. As we talk about Week 1. And I know we got a couple minutes left in the show. I wanted to talk more. Sorry that, again, for those who are watching, thank you very much. This is why I say we have some of the best analysts in the world because, again, my fuse blew. And these guys just ran the show perfectly fine. Rocco Rakelli, Dalton Smith, Mookie Hawkins, who obviously I learned from a lot, obviously. Phenomenal job, by the way. Thank you again for doing that. There is one other topic I wanted to talk about because I didn't want people to talk about think that we were just talking football the whole show. We'll talk about that more as the shows come along. Obviously, tomorrow is the Alphabets football show with Ramona Dye, Marcus Betts tomorrow. You got Rise Up Unlimited Saturday, along with Flying High podcast on Saturday. There will be some shows in between that. I ain't gonna lie. There's gonna be some shows in between that. Friday and Saturday, early in the day. Yeah, there'll be some shows. We'll talk about more stuff as far as the schedule and what we think. Rise Up Early has a new show called Scroll, Troll, and Patrol. So that is going to commence probably Friday and Saturday. And Sunday with the Bill show, things of that nature. You got the Bill show coming up. Make sure you tune into the Buffalo Bills edition of Rise Up Early. Obviously, the sports angle, Ian Rocco Rakelli could tell you every day, Friday night. My guy puts it down for sure. Jaw you this week too. Perfect time to talk about wrestling. We got some wrestling stuff going on. Hint, hint, wink, wink. There might be a Jaw you show today, actually. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But I want you guys to support. All right, I want you guys to keep supporting. And if you have not clicked the WDAP subscribe button, you definitely should right now. WDAP Radio TV on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. Make sure you click. Make sure you click. Spreaker.com. Make sure you click and subscribe for sure. Speaking about subscribing, there's a guy who wants to unsubscribe from a team that that talked a whole bunch of junk about this guy. I mean, they put him on a pedestal. I think they did some things too early. I want to talk about Jack Eichel right now in the Buffalo Sabres. I want to talk about that situation, that debacle. I don't know if people have been listening, but Jack Eichel is on the outs after being signed 8-year, $80 million contract with the Buffalo Sabres. Obviously, Jack Eichel got injured this season. And the debacle between the Sabres and Jack Eichel is the fact that Jack Eichel wants to have a surgery that most people aren't comfortable with. And for those who don't know what it is, it's his herniated disc. So Jack Eichel has a herniated disc in which he wants surgery for. And there's a lot of flack and talk between the organization and him on what should happen, what steps should be taken in this matter. And then there's a lot of frustration about the Buffalo Sabres not winning. Right now, as you know, the Buffalo Sabres went through Phil Housley, who I interviewed and got to talk to a lot. I thought he was too soft. And then you brought Ralph Kruger in the mix, and you thought that he was going to do better, even though his track record kind of said that he was average, mediocre, subpar in some way, shapes, or forms when he was in Edmonton and things of that nature. And he flopped. So Jack Eichel wants to win. There's some conversation on that. I will keep you posted on that. Make sure that you read the Rise Up Right articles, Challenger News, about this upcoming situation with Jack Eichel and the Sabres. And I'm going to ask Ian Rocco Raquelli and Dalton, because I know Rocco Raquelli definitely is a big hockey fan, on how he feels about this.
Oh, I'm a diehard hockey fan. I started watching hockey when I was like 4 years old, obviously. With Jack Eichel, now there has been conflicting reports. There have been reports saying that he requested a trade. There's been reports saying that he didn't request a trade. There has been there has definitely been reports that he's disgruntled, which I get. If I was the Buffalo Sabres, you have to ask yourself one question. You have to look in the mirror and have your heart-to-heart conversation. If you are going to trade Jack Eichel, what do you want in return? Do you want a star in return? Do you want a boatload of draft picks? Do you want a boatload of prospects? Do you want a variation of all of them? What would you want in a trade with Jack Eichel? Because it could be very easy for them to just do a swap with the New York Rangers with Mika Zibanejad. They could, do something like that where you take him, trade him down to Madison Square Garden and just wipe your hands clean and say, we're done here. But it's not going to be that easy, Andre. So to answer the question, regardless of what happens, if he does get traded to New York, if he does stay in Buffalo, I think that with him being disgruntled, it's mainly because of the fact that they keep on losing. And I don't care how loyal you are to a team. At the end of the day, you want to win. You want to win championships. You want to win titles. That's what every athlete at the end of the day wants. So with Jack Eichel, we'll see what happens there. I think the New York Rangers conversation and that discussion is starting to heat up. We'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Well, there's something else that needs to be talked about too. The LA Kings have already, before the trade deadline, already checked in on Jack Eichel, and so they've checked in on Sam Reinhart too. So the LA Kings is looking to do work. So it all depends on how the summer go. But I wouldn't be surprised if the LA Kings don't try to make a splash move for Sam Reinhart and Jack Eichel all in one. The Sabres would have to get a whole house load of picks and players from them in order to keep the organization, or the fans, I should say, forget the organization, the fans of the loyal fans of the Buffalo Sabres at least happy or somewhat content with what's going on. Dalton.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not much about the hockey stuff, but what I just heard now, I think they should have a conversation with that general manager, man to man, heart to heart. If he wants to get traded, he should get traded. If they want to keep him, they should keep him.
Yeah. I could totally agree to that. I mean, last year he just played 21 games. He scored 2 goals and 16 assists for the last place Sabres, by the way. I just want to put that out there. All right. So with that being said, you have been invited to the land of the limited. We ain't saying you gotta go, but we gotta get the heck up out of here for sure. Next week we'll be on again. Hopefully we won't have no blackouts this week. Next week. And I want to thank everybody who was on. We had fun. And again, support. Genuine support is important. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. Genuine support is important. With that being said, for Rocco Raquelli from Las Vegas, the Sports Angle, for Dalton D-Man Smith, the consistent one, all right, and myself, the fire starter, Andre the Torch Robinson, we are out. Make sure you support. All right.
Yeah. It's a Rise Up Family exclusive. #1 sports community organization in the world. Second to none. I know what it is.